Hello there, wellness entrepreneur. Welcome back. I'm honored to have on today special guest and my client, Sallie Rivers. She is a yoga teacher in the Tampa, Florida area, as well as online. So I'll have her tell you all a little bit about what she's doing and who she's helping. Welcome.
Hi, thanks.
So tell everyone a little bit about what you're doing these days and who you're helping.
Well, these days I am a full-time yoga teacher. I teach at a studio. I lead a yoga teacher training. I mentor yoga teachers, new yoga teachers, and some experienced yoga teachers as well. I also lead wellness retreats at my house, and I lead wellness retreats internationally. I have one coming up in Panama, and I have one coming up in Spain, and that's in November and May. So I do all kinds of things yoga.
I I love it. Living the yoga teacher dream, really, because you also have events and workshops at your house as
Mhm.
well, and those have sold out and done really well and filled. Tell us a little bit about your journey when we first started working together, because you were doing retreats at the time, but some of what you just mentioned were ideas. And tell us a little bit about where you were when we first started working together.
Well, when we first started working together, I was leading retreats. I'm going to say I was just a yoga teacher. I was only really focused on teaching at a yoga studio. I was also leading yoga teacher trainings. I'd written the
Mhm.
curriculum for that, but I didn't have like a big ticket item that was bringing in a little bit more income for me to
Mhm.
be like a full yoga teacher, I guess. So when I came to you, I just needed to be a little bit more clear about where I was going and who I wanted to help and bringing in a little more profit than just the $30 an hour yoga teacher class that I was teaching.
Yeah, exactly. And so we came up with the mentorship program together and signed your first few clients from that. It actually happened pretty quickly. Tell us a little bit about that process because that can be really inspiring for others.
Well, what was beautiful about it is that when you and I started talking, you had mentioned doing one-on-one clients. I didn't really want to teach one-on-one. There's a lot of money there for yoga
Hmm.
teachers. But when we continued our conversation, we realized that I was already mentoring yoga teachers. I had 3 cohorts that I had processed. And I had yoga teachers who were coming to me asking me what they thought about their classes, what I thought about a different meditation course that they wanted to implement. So I was already mentoring people. I just wasn't naming it as mentorship. And so you helped me flesh that out and say, you're already doing it. It needs to be a little bit more of a reciprocal energy exchange. And then I did that. And you encouraged me. It's funny because I think most yoga teachers were scared to ask for our worth.
Mm.
I think we're all Pollyannas. We come in and we want to change the world. We want to heal people and we want to help people. And we feel guilty about taking a financial exchange for it. But we have to make a living as well. So then I reached out to yoga teachers that I had already trained and said, hey, I have a mentorship program. I came up with a model. You helped me come up with a model that would work for like a basic model. And then I came up with a couple of tiers for it. And then I just let it organically grow from there. I have a mentee that I'm working with, and she has like the biggest model that I'm doing, access to me all week long. We meet for 90 minutes 3 times a month, and we're working for 6 months at a time with each other. So that's my biggest one. And then I have one where the teacher's more experienced. She's not a new teacher, she's a more experienced yoga teacher, but she just wanted to give more life to her classes. And I work with her 3 times a month just for an hour. And then I just meet with her only when we sit down with each other. She doesn't have like instant access to me via text message or emails or phone calls or anything like that.
I love it. And then you brought in the idea to go to their classes, which really
Mm,
changed one of the teachers. I think her class had kind of like a trickling of students and followers, and then the
mm,
class really started growing after you started attending, which
mm.
I just loved. It came very organically for you, that idea. Tell us a little bit about that, like how going to the classes changed and what helped that teacher like really start to fill the classes.
That was a really good question. So I wanted to go because you can sit down and have a conversation all day long, but until you actually feel what the students are feeling, you don't really know what the other teacher is bringing. And also, it was a good way for me to get back into my own practice because
Mhm.
as yoga teachers, we kind of let our own practice go off to the wayside. So I loved that part of it. When I first started going to this particular yoga teacher's class, she had maybe 4 students, and her sequencing was really bland. She talked all the time. There was a lot of unnecessary cueing. So I was really able to sit down with her and clean it up and make the sequence a lot more interesting instead of sun salutations and crescent lunge and then twist and then sun salutations and then crescent lunge other side twist. We made it a little bit more dynamic. And that's what she wanted to do too. She didn't want to be teaching a boring class. She just
Where to
didn't know
go?
any other way. So then when I came to her class, I was actually able to feel into how she was as a teacher too. I mean, all of us yoga teachers, I mean, I think all of us yoga teachers do. We feel into the energy intuitively with our students and with the teachers that we're working with. So I was able to feel into what kind of yoga teacher she was wanting to become. She was a restorative yoga teacher, and then she really wanted to teach a warm vinyasa flow, which was very different from
Mhm.
what she had wanted to be doing in the very beginning. And I had always wanted to teach hot yoga, so I knew what that type A pitted person was looking for. But what was beautiful is that we were able to marry her restorative yoga love with a warm flow of vinyasa and just became like an organic process.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. And then the result was more filled rooms for her, more.
Yeah, you're right. I got distracted, but yeah, you're right. So when I first started coming to her, she only had 4, and now she has like 15, 16, 17, 18 people
I
coming.
love it. I love
So what
it.
we decided was in her restorative yoga background, she likes to go slow. So we decided each month she would just work on one specific pose.
Mm.
And then we would build on that pose organically. The very first time she would introduce that pose to the students, she would go really slow, which was her restorative love. And then she would start to pick up the pace too. And then we would thread organic and creative sequences in there, like infinity flows, circle flows, that kind of thing. That it was different each time, but it was still working on that same pose. I don't want to say peak. It wasn't always a peak pose flow. It was
The
a peak
theme.
flow, you know? It was like a combination of all of that. And I think what really ended up happening is once she started really putting her energy and my energy into that space, then the universe just reciprocates it. So then
Mhm.
people started coming back because then they could tell that she was really passionate about it. Whereas before, she kind of seemed like a deer in headlights. Like she didn't really know what she was doing. She was kind of doing something and then kind of not doing something. It didn't really have a structured container to hold the energy. And then once we started working together, yeah, it started to just grow organically like that. It's like a garden. Once you start to water the garden and give your love to the garden, then the crops will grow. And
Mhm.
she didn't really
Yeah.
know how to water it.
Yeah, so many yoga teachers like that 200 hour can be just the start. Or even if you've
Mm,
completed a 300 hour, now you have like maybe more poses or more sequencing options, but it's still like putting it together. And as you highlighted, in your organic,
mm,
authentic way, developing your style
mm,
and your passion for sequencing. And I think all of that, what you just described, is what also helps prevent yoga teacher burnout because you're not
mm,
just doing the same old, same old. You're like, for me anyways, when I was like, I love to create sequencing. Like I'd have journals of sequences and I just like sequencing junkie, like different ways to lead people here or take them on a journey in a different way and what they might feel and
mm.
experience or the before, the after. And it kept me invigorated as a teacher.
You're right. When we put these teachers through their 200-hour training, their 300-hour training, we're throwing so much information at them. And it's hard for them to navigate afterwards where they want to go with this information. They have little sparks of energy of, well, I liked this and I also liked this, but then they have a hard time of threading it together. So that's why I think mentoring was perfect for me because I also love yoga. I can talk all things yoga. But after teaching it, and training it for 8 years now, I know how to thread it together with a sequence. So the other thing about her classes and my other mentees that I've been working with is that it's not just the asanas that we're focusing on, because yoga isn't just the asanas. We're also focusing on the philosophy, the subtle body, the energy components, everything that makes yoga more than just a fitness-based class. So we're threading these beautiful sequences together with these ancient poses, but also with the ancient philosophy of it. And that's what gives you a beautiful yoga class.
Yeah, 100%. And I love this. This leads to also another facet of the work that you do for your community where you have a passion for mantras. and you started leading, you had an idea to bring a mantra event in which it filled and sold out. Tell us a little bit about that, how that idea came and how you made it happen. Because I think some people get stuck with like, "Oh, I have an idea," but then, you made it happen.
Well, I think you just have to do it. You have these beautiful ideas, and that's just the universe whispering to you, like, go down this path. You feel it, you hear it, not in a normal sense, but you do. And then you just go for it. So with mantras, I remember in my 200-hour training, I was introduced to mantras, but it's such an ancient practice. And I don't think that we spend too much time in it in a 200-hour training for us to really embody the practice. But that's an ancient practice. And I was fortunate enough to go to India this year with my teacher and go to Arizona again with the same teacher and to really work with these ancient Vedic mantras. And when you're in an immersive experience like that, chanting these mantras for hours a day, you can't not have a divine experience. So it was life changing for me. It was a pivotal moment for me. And I'm so glad I listened first to go to those trainings, those immersive trainings. And then, like with everything with yoga, once you experience it and once you feel the benefits of it, you just want to teach it. You want other people to realize and experience the beautiful healing aspects of these ancient trainings. So with that, after I came back from Arizona, I was just buzzing and I was ready. And I don't teach anything until I feel completely confident in the knowledge of it, in the embodiment practice of it. And so once I had my own personal practice, my sadhana in the morning when I was waking up and I was chanting, and then I knew I was ready. And so then I decided to bring the workshop to my students. And I only taught the mantras that I had a personal relationship with. And that's an ancient thing too. You are only supposed to teach the mantras that you have a relationship with. I think what was hard though is narrowing them down because I was just so excited. So I taught a lot of mantras, but you're working with pure prana. When you work with mantras, it is pure pranic energy, pure sound energy, and it changes the brain, it changes your cells, it changes your whole being. So you have to be mindful of it. When I came up with the workshop, I wanted them to experience not, I don't want to say basic ones, but foundational ones, foundational mantras. And so I brought those to our students, and I could tell after chanting them now, and we chant them for, I started with 7 minutes, and then we got up to 11 minutes, and then we got up to around almost 30 minutes chanting these mantras, which is different. And I could tell the students who had not worked with prana, who aren't used to working with their pranayama, not just breath, but working with the prana, the energy in the body. I could tell the students who weren't used to working with their own energy because they looked like they were hit by a bus. And then other ones who have been used to doing their yoga practice, working with pranayama, they were live. They were
Diving away.
yeah, they were ecstatic. It was cool. It was an interesting experience. And so I decided after that one, I needed to have another one because it just needed to be followed up. And so I have another one coming up on the autumnal equinox, and we're only going to be chanting one mantra at this time. That time I did a 4-hour workshop and we chanted like 4 different ones. And I exposed them to a bunch of other ones that I had a relationship with. But this one, we're just going to be singing for, say, for 30 minutes with just one mantra.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
this. So much diversity in your work that you're offering people.
Mm.
And I totally agree with that embodiment. Like whenever I was leading my own workshops or in my own classes, I think this goes back to the importance of having our own practice because when we can teach from a place of experience, it can be a failed experience or it can be a successful experience. But when we're just teaching from experience, then it adds like layers of depth to it where it's more than just beyond like intellectual reasoning. There's like what you're saying, an embodiment to it, a feeling to it, your heart into it. And it's just a more well rounded experience, I feel.
Which is what yoga is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit also in our journey together. You also started posting on social media more, and you did have a viral moment that was very unexpected. So tell us a little bit about your social media experience too here.
Okay. So when I first started posting on social media, well, when I first met you, I wasn't really posting on social media consistently. I didn't really know what to post either. I think I was just posting random things here and there. And then once we started working together, it was easier to get clear about who I'm talking to. And so I started posting a combination of things. I started posting intellectual posts and then also call to action posts and my experience post. The viral moment, it is funny. The viral moment really had nothing to do, well, I mean, it had nothing to do with yoga, asanas. I picked up my mother, who is living in assisted living down the road from me, and I picked her up, and then I just shared a very vulnerable and tender moment with my mom where I was crying in it because I was just so grateful that she's still with me. And because we had some experiences a couple of years ago where she almost passed away, and my mom's 82 now. So I shared a very tender moment. And I think that just shows that really social media is all about connection as well.
Mm-hmm.
If people want to see you and who you are and the connection you have within your life. And it's still going. Actually, I still have people following me from it and liking it. I have people reaching out to me and saying it reminded them of their mother. Yeah, it's a very sweet and tender relationship between a mother and a daughter. And I
Yeah.
also think that that maternal energy is what we're needing more of now. So I think that that video also went viral because we're needing that love and support that is so maternal, that is so feminine in nature.
Yeah, and it's a post that's very authentic to you. You showed up as you, and it just spoke from your heart. And I think that is so important because sometimes, myself included, like we really get caught up in what should I say or formulaic responses
Mhm.
to work with the algorithm, which you do want to be aware of, but sometimes you can just really let all of that go and just share something that's meaningful for you. And maybe it'll take off, maybe it won't, but it's going to add and contribute to your body of work there that's going
Mhm.
to create an experience for the user that comes to your page. So it's
Mhm.
going to add value regardless. And you just had the bonus of gaining, I don't know what, 1,000 followers or something.
Yeah, I gained a lot. Yeah. 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 I'm just thinking about the post right now. It was a really sweet post. And it was random. I honestly just thought, hey, I should record this because I don't know how many more times I'm going to have with my mom. And I also wanted to record the gratitude I have for her and the
Mhm.
respect I have for my mom.
Just love it. And you had some other great posts where retreats were coming up. You had to get a certain number by a deadline so you didn't have to pay a deposit. And so we were brainstorming some social media posts together. And I just remember like you took it on your own and ran with them. And then you would get a message, okay, I filled my spots. And I just love it. It's so great.
Yeah, those ones were fun to make. Those ones were putting the intention of what I wanted to call forward in these retreats I have because I feel everything needs to begin with an intention. I mean, in my sadhana, my morning practice, I always start the day with an intention. And that has been very pivotal in my growth. And I teach my yoga teachers too. You don't come into a yoga class without an intention. These people are choosing to spend their greatest commodity, which is time with you. And the least you can do is have some sort of intention with it. So, with those posts for my retreat, I was very specific about what I was saying because each retreat has a specific intention. The one in Panama I'm running, it's conscious connection. We're going to pretty much a deserted island in Panama with a horse farm on the
Oh,
retreat center property. You know, there's going to be sloths there and monkeys there. And again, it comes back to what I feel our society, our communities are needing now is that feminine energy. And we get that the best when we connect with the earth.
mhm.
So the Panama retreat was conscious connection, not to escape. I don't like the idea of a yoga retreat being to escape anything. It's not to escape, it's to remember. It's
Mhm.
to remember our connection to the earth and to remember our connection to each other and then to remember our connection to the divine within us. It's also the divine within you, the divine within the sloths, and the divine within the monkeys, and the divine within the trees. So when I made those posts, it was all about consciously connecting and remembering your connection.
Yeah, I just love that. I can't wait to see it through the eyes of you and hear about it.
Hmm.
It's going to be such a magical experience. Tell everyone your social media, Instagram channel, so they can go check out your posts and your retreats and mentorship and all the information. And then we'll talk about what you have coming for the future, which is very exciting.
Okay. So my Instagram handle is Sallie, Sallie Rivers dot yoga, Sallie Rivers dot yoga. And I have links to my retreats up there. I actually do have one last tiny little spot in my
Ooh.
Spain retreat in May. And that one's about coming together. So that one's called Come Together, in case anyone out there wants to snag that last
Yes.
spot. Yeah.
Yay.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay, so tell everyone what your next idea is and how it's coming together for you.
So my next idea is I'm going to open a space of my own. It's time now for me to open a yoga studio, and I'm calling it the Sanctuary. It's going to be the Valrico Yoga Sanctuary. For me, it's all about making a space, a sacred space. I'm going to say it, not just a white lady fitness yoga studio. It's about having a diverse set of classes. I want meditation, nutrition, mantras. Of course, I want restorative and gentle and vinyasa and hot power because that was my first love too. But it's a space for everyone. It's a space for all kinds of modalities. I want to really bring us back to the ancient traditional roots of yoga that I think we're slowly coming back to it. But before, it was mostly a fitness-based class, and yoga is so much more than just the asanas. So that's what I'm making. I'm making a sanctuary space. So now before I build it, I'm taking this time to really clean up some karmic ties that I have. And I'm really settling into the sanctuary that is me, the sanctuary that is my own being. And then from there, I'm building this space from that energetic frequency. I'm being very intentional about being aligned before I come into the space. I'm also intentional about astrologically when I'm opening a space too. So everything in life has seasons, and I'm going with the natural seasons, the natural cycles of our world, our earth, Mother Nature. I'm flowing with that. Yeah. So that's what I have coming. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey and what keeps you inspired and going and trying new things like different workshops and getting on social media and posting more. Tell us any like parting words of wisdom that you would have for the yoga teacher that maybe feels like they're kind of in a grind or lacking
Mm.
inspiration or they're wanting to do more than, I'm not going to say this lightly, but just teach classes, which are so needed for communities. So they're very important and valuable, but they feel a calling to do more than teach only classes.
Stay a student. Stay
Mm,
with your practice and stay a student. When you get into that space where you feel it's a grind and you're on that, it's almost like you're in mud and you're just spinning your wheels. Step out of your normal and put yourself in a space with other yoga students, other yoga teachers. Always remember you're a student because yoga is so vast and there's so many other inspiring teachers out there. So find a community that is inspiring to you and continue to grow and find support. I really love the mentoring that I'm doing because it helps you grow when you have support. Like when I came to you and you started supporting me, I began to bloom a lot more. And it's just like, again, with the garden analogy, if you're a plant, you can't water yourself. Somebody else has to water you. So when you find support with other people who are just as passionate as you are, you'll start to bloom again. Stay with your practice. Stay with your practice. Stay connected to yourself and always stay a student.
yeah, I just love that. And congratulations on all your success. I can't wait to
Hmm.
see the sanctuary come to fruition and all that you're doing. You're really helping a lot of people and a lot of teachers. So
Hmm.
make sure to go check her out, sallyrivers.yoga on Instagram. You can check out her links to see all that she's doing or just send her a DM and she'll, answer any questions or you can learn more about her mentorship and more. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, Allison. I appreciate you.
Yeah, you too.